Hi again then guys, and welcome to another specific car review for Gran Turismo Sport, and this time we're featuring a car which I may have a slightly controversial opinion of, not in a bad way, but actually in a good way, because I would say straight off the bat that this car, the Lamborghini Huracan, is the best Lamborghini in Gran Turismo Sport currently. And the reason why I would say that is actually for a very similar reason to why I have always liked the Gallardo so much. And that is, although it doesn't have the sheer power, or even the sheer straight line speed of something like a Murcielago, or an Aventador, or a Centenario, or a Veneno, what it does have is very similar numbers which in its own way are still very competitive in, and this is the key, a more affordable and much more compact package. Because when you think of supercars, especially top tier ones, when you think of their proportions, the way they're designed, the way they look, the amount of space and area that they take up, what's the most common thing to think of? That they're big. They're always big cars. The Veneno is huge. The Aventador is a big car. The Huracan is not. Neither was the Gallardo. And that's one of the reasons why I would say that these cars that are basically borderline super sports cars and only just supercars really are so much better for track potential, because they may not have the sheer power of something like a Veneno in the case of GT Sport, but this car is so much better around the track, and as I mentioned just now, for such a better, lower price. This is the most affordable Lamborghini model in the game. It's under 300,000 credits, and that's great for any Lambo, let alone one which is as good as this one. Because to say that it's like a Gallardo really does the car a disservice. Not that the Gallardo is a bad comparison, it does represent that, but because this car is already better than most of the Gallardos ever were, even up to and including stuff like the Superleggera, because this has 601 horsepower straight off the bat, 413 pound-feet of torque. It's not even that heavy at 1422 kilos, and that is of course with plenty of Audi tech, including all-wheel drive, but as I mentioned earlier, in a much more affordable, especially compared to something like a Veneno, overall package, which is also a lot more compact. It's shorter, narrower, not necessarily that different in terms of height, but in particular the width and length makes such a huge difference around a technical tight circuit with a car like this compared to a massive car like a Veyron or a Veneno or even something like a LaFerrari. And that's why something like a LaFerrari stands out so much in that crowd, because it is a reasonably large car, but it's so technically proficient that it more than makes up for it, whereas something like a Veneno or a Veyron, they really do feel big and heavy and cumbersome, even though in their own way they are good for some things. But the things that they're good for tend to be more being a status symbol and, for better or worse, straight line machines. This car is not as quick as those cars in a straight line, but it feels so much better around the track. As you can even see in this video, you can get your drift on quite easily in a vehicle like this, and even with all of the driving aids turned off, but with just a tiny bit of ABS, it handles like a dream. It's such an easy car to drive, it's very beginner friendly, and even without doing that much to it, not just in terms of upgrades, but even just tuning, it already feels like such a good car. It's one of the few cars which can actually rival something like the new shape NSX or the Nissan GTR, because it's that good, especially given the price. Because at the end of the day, even if something like a Veneno turned out to be as quick as a LaFerrari, it's still so much more expensive that it kind of negates the fact that it's that good, even if it were that good. Whereas with a car like this, under 300 grand is a much better place to be. Overall, I would say that this is easily one of my favourite cars so far of Gran Turismo Sport, having driven cars with way more power, even including prototypes and VGTs. I might even put this in my top 5 favourites in the game so far. It's just such a good all-rounder. It offers a great package for a great price, which doesn't even take that long to attain. As far as Lamborghinis go, there is no question that this is the most beginner-friendly of them all, both in terms of how easy it is to save up for and how forgiving it is to drive. You can drift it easily, you can give great lap times, and it can easily wipe away something like a Veneno around a technical circuit. There's really no question to me. that this is the best all-round Lambo in the game, but it's not even just about the actual performance or the price or the packaging or the dimensions of the car. It's more about the usability as well, because if you think of all of the other Lambos, some of which are, for sure, quicker than this. Of course the GT3 is quicker around the track. Of course the Group 4 version could be quicker around the track as well. Obviously, they're race cars. But at the same time, this car, I would say, is still better compared to those, because not only is it still cheaper, which is a huge advantage, but more significantly than that, it has more versatility, because the Group 3 car is only a Group 3 car. The Group 4 car is only a Group 4 car. An N-Class vehicle, not just the Huracan, but any N-Class vehicle, has so much more range of use. You can detune the power, you can increase the power. I don't know the full range of this car's power level, because I haven't fully tuned it, but I should think you could quite easily get this to be an N500, N600, and N700, maybe even higher or lower than that. Even if those are the only classes, that's 3 distinct classes that you can use this great car in, not just Group 4, Group 3, Group X. And to me, that is just so much better value for money. It's a car that is more affordable and more usable to boot. So overall, if you haven't checked out the Huracan, as you can tell, I would pretty strongly recommend that you do so. I don't think that everyone will love it to the same degree that I do, but I do find it refreshing to have a Lamborghini that I truly love in the game. Because, for those who maybe don't know, I'm not a huge Lamborghini fan. I like the company and I like the cars, but they've never really done it for me as much as, say, Maserati does, or for the most part, even as Ferrari does. Especially since they've become kind of like slightly redesigned Audis. Not that that's bad, it's just not me, because I'm not a huge Audi fan either. This one, though, to me feels more like its own thing. Like a true, unique Lambo. So, I would definitely recommend checking it out, and if you have already checked it out, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Did you like it? Did you think it was mediocre? Did you dislike it? Either way, of course, I hope you enjoy driving the car, and that's it for this review overall, so I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.